Terraform. Terraform is a language. It's also some kind of a library that you install, and it's very declarative, and it's used for operations. What do we mean by operations? We mean that if you have a cloud account, be it AWS, Google Cloud, or even locally, then you can run a Terraform file or a set of files with the Terraform command line. After you have installed this command line on your local machine, and then with a few files where you declare which resources do you need. Do you need S3? Do you need lambdas? And it would run them and install them and make sure that whatever buckets you have defined locally, whatever infrastructure you have defined will exist. So it's a declarative language. It looks like a JSON. It's not a strict JSON, but it looks like a JSON. You defined which infrastructure you want in code, and then you run Terraform run from the command line or from a different machine, and you get this infrastructure. It would make sure to install, to delete, to create the missing infrastructure. The good thing about Terraform, because there are multiple tools, right? You can have CDK and you can have other tools in order to install infrastructure, um, or just command line bashes, and there are additional tools like Puppet. The good thing which I like about Terraform is that it's very clear. When you look at the Terraform code, then you see resource, AWS resource, the bucket, and then the properties, and it's very clear. It stands out on how clear it is. The fact that it's based on files on and structure that is similar to um, JSON makes it super human readable. Another great thing about Terraform is that I think it's very intuitive. Its command line, Terraform run, is very intuitive. Terraform plan is very intuitive. So this is good. Another good thing about Terraform is that it has a huge customer base. Okay, so if you look at the plugin of Terraform for Visual Studio Code, you will see like 1 million or 2 million downloads, which is only the plugin for Visual Studio Code. Um, Another good thing about Terraform is that it supports so many things. It supports AWS, it supports Google Cloud, it supports locally installing. So it has a huge support of providers and things to install. Okay, so when you approach Terraform, what you want to do is to install the plugin for your IDE. If you are using Visual Studio Code, you would want to install the plugin, which is another great thing because once you install the plugin, then you get many benefits. You can see remotely the resources that you created, etc. Also, the thing about CDK is that it's like code, okay, which is good because in code you can do sophisticated things. But I think that for infrastructure, we want something dumb, something declarative and dumb, and use it because it makes life simpler. Okay. For code, we should leave for code things which are open problems, right? We want to create a new product. Okay, which product do we create? This is the product. We need a very sophisticated computer language. But for infrastructure, we know exactly what we want. We want an S3 bucket. Okay, so I don't need a programming language for this. I need something clear and concise. So we said that we install the Terraform plugin for IntelliJ or for Visual Studio Code, which makes syntax lightning and etc. We then create a new folder or a package, and over there we run the command line Terraform Init. Terraform Init will create the main file, And then we will define which providers how do we want to get started. So getting started with Terraform means installing the CLI, installing the IntelliJ or your IDE Visual Studio plugin, running the command line Terraform init. These are the 3 steps that you want. And Terraform is just a binary. For example, when I installed it on Windows, it was just terraform.exe. This is Terraform, okay, which is great. Again, a fully self-bundled executable. I think this is the result of it being written in Go. Things which are written in Go are bundled in a single executable many times. And then, for example, in order to access AWS, then in our main TF file, let's say that we want our infrastructure to access AWS. So we write provider in main TF. Open your main TF file, which is created by Terraform init, and then write in this file provider AWS. Then in curly brackets, region is, let's say, US East 1. And now this Terraform would reference AWS US East 1. Now let's say that we want a VPC, then write below the provider AWS resource AWS VPC, which is a standard Terraform resource component. My VPC, if this is the name of the VPC, and then in curly brackets, CIDR block and your CRDR block, like 10.0.0.0/16. So this is basically Terraform. Okay, the Terraform executable, the semi-JSON files, the plugin to your IDE, and now you start writing your infrastructure in a declarative, clear way.